Hello YouTube, I'm Waverly. Welcome back to my channel. If you hear a rumbling sound in the background of this video, it vaguely resembles a motorboat or a motorcycle. That would be my cat. She's a little bit loud, sorry about that, but I'm not gonna make her stop purring for the sake of your audio. So I forgot to drink tea while making this video, but I drank this before and after I was filming this, so I guess it still technically counts as a tea time with Waverly segment. So tell me what tea you're drinking. My channel's gotten a lot of attention for my first week of classes at Trinity video, and I figured I would make an update as to why I am no longer going to Trinity College of Dublin, because I still do get a lot of comments on that video asking to meet up on campus or asking for advice on campus, and I can still answer those questions based off of my experiences there, but I figured it'd be good to clarify that I am no longer at Trinity in Dublin. I am back home in America. And my perspective of Trinity is coming from an American perspective. I have only ever attended high school and university in America, so going into Irish university, it was very much different than what I was used to. I'm going to clarify why. But if you're used to the European education system or the Irish education system, this might not be so unusual for you. First of all, in America, you can pick your classes, or at least at my school, you can pick your classes. You make your own schedule, you pick what times you want your classes, and you can pick which classes you actually take. Depending on your major, there's a number of classes that you need to take to graduate and get your degree, but you can take those classes in whatever order unless they're consecutive, like Linguistics 1, Linguistics 2, Linguistics 3. But other classes that you might need to graduate, like for example, I have to take Languages of the World. I don't necessarily have to take Languages of the World my first year or my first semester. I could take that my third year or something, and I can pick when I do that. You can also take a lot of electives, such as theater, and American universities usually require that you take electives, and general education classes like maths, sciences, English, and history. And then you also have to take arts classes to graduate and language classes. That's not the case at Trinity. At Trinity, everyone in your major has the exact same schedule and the exact same classes, and it's designated for you. My major, by the way, was computer science and linguistics, specifically French. So my classes were computing, mathematics, programming, French, and linguistics. Everyone in my course who was doing the exact same course, specifically computer science and French linguistics, had those same classes. All the other computer science kids had the same computer science class as me, and the CSL computer science and language students had the same linguistics class and computer science and math. Those classes, they were all the same, and then, yeah, there were 100, more than 100, maybe 200 kids in each class. So there wasn't that much individual attention. In my French class, there was a lot of individual attention. There was only maybe 10 people, so we got to interact with the professor one-on-one a lot more. I liked that bit. I don't really like big classes that much. And the grading system in America, 90 to 100 is A, 80 to 89 is B, 70 to 79 is C, 60 to 69 is D, and then that's failing. In Ireland, it's very different. 40 and above is passing. No one ever gets above a 90. That would be perfect. There was a Harvard student who studied abroad there, and she was only making 80s, and she was like, why am I only making 80s? And everyone was like, that's amazing. 70's A, at least in America, it would be translated to an A, and 60 would be translated to a B. And then 40 is the lowest grade you can make while still passing. Alright, now I'm going to talk about why I specifically dropped out and why I no longer attend classes there. I didn't really like the grading system, not the 40 bit, it was the percentages, the weights of what goes into your grade. For the majority of my classes, I think computing was the only exception. Assignments, that means classwork, homework, all of those things. The highest percentage that they were was 20%, but usually it was 10%. And then your test, either your 2 tests or in some classes your 1 test, would be 90 or 80% of your grade. So that means that you could do every single assignment perfectly, and if you still failed the test, you would still fail the class. In America, that's not the case. Usually the test is 25% of your grade, so you'll still pass even if you get a 0 on the test, but if you do everything else all right, you'll still pass the class. Not in Ireland, so that was kind of disheartening because it didn't really provide much motivation to want to do the work, but you still have to do the work so you can learn it. But then also, if you're not good at taking tests, I wouldn't say I'm great at taking tests, I think I'm decent at it, but if you're not good at taking tests, then you're kind of screwed in terms of your grade. And there's a chance to make up the exams, but that's really inconvenient for international students because it's in August, so you'd have to fly back in the summer and then fly back home and then fly back again when classes start. So that's just a lot of money that you don't want to spend on flights because you failed an exam. I actually did end up failing one of my exams, and unfortunately it's one of the only credits that's transferring to the school I'm going to now. And the reason I failed that class was because it had several hundred people in the class, so there wasn't much individual attention. And they were like older students who you could reach out to for help, but they're students, they're not teachers, they don't really know how to teach it. The class was computing, and we were specifically learning ARM assembly language, which I like to say ARM assembly language is like the Latin of programming languages. Like, no one really uses it anymore. It's useful because it gives you a better understanding of the languages we do use, but no one really uses it anymore, and as a result, there weren't many resources online or with friends who I could go to and study on my own outside of school. And on top of that, in order to do the assignments, I wasn't able to do them for like the first half of the semester because I had a Mac, and the program you needed to do the assignments was on PC, and so halfway through the semester I was able to boot camp my Mac and then do the assignments on my PC. So I wasn't able to do like the first half of the assignments. I tried to make them up, but it was really difficult because I was just falling behind a lot and I wasn't grasping what I needed to grasp. And I could have done them on campus, which I didn't realize till later, but I could have done the assignments in the computer lab on campus, but I was really confused. The computer labs were kind of iffy because a lot of times they had classes using them, so I wasn't sure which ones I could go to. You need to use your student card, and then on top of that, you have to take the bus to school, which I'll get onto that. So it's a 20-minute bus ride that you have to pay for, and then a 20-minute bus ride back, all to do your homework assignment. And I don't know. It wasn't the best system, in my opinion, so I ended up failing that class, unfortunately. And that was actually the only class I had that the assignments had a bigger weight, and so as a result, me not being able to do the assignments didn't really reflect well on my grade. The linguistics class actually only had one grade, and that was the final essay, and I think it was like 10 pages long. So your entire grade is that essay. So if you write a really bad essay, you fail the class. Write a great essay, get a great grade. However, the main reason that I dropped out of Trinity was just the cost. A lot of people think going to school in Europe is cheaper than going to school in America, and that's partially true. I thought it was true until I actually did it. It's cheaper than going out of state, but for me, going in-state, staying in-state is a lot cheaper, because in-state, there's usually scholarships, and the tuition's cheaper if you stay in your state. And on top of that, I'm living at my house, so I don't have to pay for a dorm. At Trinity, for me, and this is all in euros, so you'd have to translate the cost to dollars, but the tuition was about 18 or 19,000 a year. The housing was 3,000 a semester, so 6,000 a year. And then on top of that, you have to buy your flights there and back. You have to pay for all your food, because like you're not living at home. And the dorm itself was 20 minutes by bus, if you're lucky and it's not trafficy, from the school. So you still have to buy a LEAP card, which is what you use to get around, and take either the Lewis, which is the tram, or the bus. And that just means that you spend money to get to school every day, which I mean, I guess you do here with like gas. But I know a lot of schools, the dorms are actually on the school, so you don't have to take the bus, or the bus is free. And a lot of schools in America have meal plans, which was not the case at Trinity. You also have to pay for your visa. I forget how much it was, maybe like $300, I can't quite recall, and you have to pay that every year. Tuition itself is cheaper than a lot of out-of-state schools, and a lot of schools in America in general, but then you have to factor in all of the other costs that come along with living overseas. So I used up basically my entire college fund that I've been saving my entire life to go to school there for one semester, because I didn't attend classes in the second semester since I knew I was going to transfer and I wanted to save money. I'm going to pop by and add something that I forgot to mention. It is possible to get a part-time job with your student visa to help pay for things when you're in Ireland. However, you're allowed to be there for 3 months without a visa, which is about how long the first semester is, and it is so hard to get an appointment to actually get your visa. it took most of us the entire first semester to get our visa, so then most of us weren't able to get jobs till the second semester. So first semester you're kind of going to be unemployed for a while, so that's why the job aspect didn't really help me pay for things. Another reason I left was because I wanted to take more elective, and I didn't like my major. I really like linguistics, and in a very last minute decision, I decided to go with computer science and linguistics because I was thinking linguistics is a humanities topic, computer science is STEM, I'm more likely to get a job with computer science, so I kind of wanted it to be my plan B. So I really wanted a lot of linguistics and a little bit of computer science. In America, that'd be like a linguistics major and a computer science minor. But the CSL degree at Trinity was actually more computer science than it was linguistics, which I didn't really enjoy that much. And so now at my current school, I'm just an applied linguistics major, and I'm probably going to minor in another language. My whole goal out of college, what I wanted to learn out of college is I want to learn as many languages. Oh, my cat almost fell. I want to learn as many languages as I can, which is saying a lot considering I'm only fluent in one language and I know a lot of another language, but that's it. But I have very high hopes, so I'm going to try to learn a lot of languages. And at Trinity, I could take French because I was a French major, but I couldn't take like other elective classes. There are societies, like clubs after school that for different languages that you could take classes with them, but that's on your own time. It's not you don't actually get the grade going towards your classes. There are other majors at Trinity that I think I would enjoy taking, like my friend, he was a German and French major, and that was it. And I was so jealous of him because that was ideal because German's one of the languages I want to learn. I wish I would have applied to that major because I like that a lot. Also, just the plain and simple linguistics major, not CSL, would have suited me. But that's another thing. In European schools, you can't really change majors. When you apply to the school, you apply to the major itself, and you have to apply to every single major you want to be considered for, and then you get accepted to that major. So you can't switch majors. If you did, you would have to reapply and go in as a freshman. So if I did switch majors, that means I would have to do 5 years of school because I'd already completed one as a different major. So you can't even switch from computer science and linguistics to just computer science. My friend tried to do that, and now she's having to re-enter school as a freshman. If I could have changed majors, I might have considered staying there. I would have had to take out loans, but I would have considered it more. But I'm not going to take out loans for 5 years. That's the reason that I dropped out of Trinity College, Dublin. I say drop out, but I mean, I transferred. I'm not a college dropout, technically. Apart from regretting spending all that money for a learning experience, I don't regret moving to Ireland, and I wish I could still be there, but cheaper. If I could be there and not have to spend so much money, I would be there right now. I don't really regret the whole experience, I just regret spending that much money. And I still highly recommend applying to Trinity College Dublin. Just because the schooling system didn't work out for me doesn't mean it won't work out for you. I just think it's good for you to go in there knowing what to expect instead of being in my shoes and arriving being like, yo, what's going on? Because it is kind of unsettling and confusing, and they didn't really provide that many resources for international students to figure out and know what to expect. That's the main point of this video, just educate you on what's to be expected when you go to school in not just Europe, but like Trinity. I can't really speak for the rest of European schools because I've only been to one. So once again, this isn't a bash on Trinity or anything. I think Trinity is an amazing school, and if I could have switched majors, I probably would have stayed. But alas, American school is just more catered to my taste, probably because I was raised in America, so it's a system that I'm comfortable with. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that clarified stuff, and I will see you guys later.